Hello and welcome to Traditional Painting the Digital Way. This is where I use digital painting apps to teach traditional painting techniques. This is part 4 in my Chiaroscuro series, and we're doing a pirate picture, and we're working on the features and trying to get them refined and all the highlights and the details added. If you want to follow along traditionally, check out part 1 of my series where I have a list of all the paint, brushes, and the canvases that I use. The app that we're using is Infinite Painter for Android. And here again, I'm just working on the nose some more. And at this point, I decided that I would try to have the eyes brown, but later on you'll see that I changed them. But at this point right now, they're brown, and they kind of give it a sort of a vampire look. So that's not what I was going for in this painting, but if you wanted to do that, you could definitely just add red to the eyes, and that would give it the vampire look. But I just wanted to use this, not make this a spooky picture, but just use this as a illustration of the techniques that Caravaggio and some of the old masters used to make a really eye-popping painting where you can see the dark and the light are big contrasts. And that's what chiaroscuro is. And I'm just kind of adding more highlights here. If you'll notice in the photograph, there's a lot of highlights on the edge of the nose, between the eyes, and on the cheekbones and the ear, and a little bit on the jawline and in the stubble of his beard. And I'm just trying to smooth those in, so I'm using a lighter flesh color. And if you're following along traditionally, use alizarin crimson, phthalo yellow green, and add a lot of white acrylic gesso, and you can add a touch of cadmium orange light as well, and that will give it more of an orangier peach color for the skin tones on the nose. And so that's what I'm doing here, adding it on the nose, above the eyebrows, on the cheekbones, just trying to give that look of the light really hitting on the right side of his face. And if you're following along traditionally, you can use your number 3 round. I like to use the filbert and the flat oil and the old oil brushes for the highlights on his face here. And I'm adding some of the highlights into the shadows. Again, you need to add some highlights into the shadows, but they're not going to be as bright as the lit up side of his face. So keep that in mind, that you want those to be more toned down and not quite as light in color. And so I'm working on the shape of the eyes again, trying to get the correct shape above the eyes and on the cheekbones there. And I'm looking at the overexposed photo that I have so that I can see some of the details. And that's one of the tricks that I use for when I have a photograph and I want to try to get more detail. You can go and overexpose it in one of the photo programs, and you'll be able to see the details. Just remember that you want to paint with the original colors and not the overexposed colors. But here I'm just trying to get the shape of the cheeks, the mouth. We're getting there. We're not there yet exactly, but we're getting there. And I'm working a little bit more on the stubble, the shape of his chin, that kind of thing there. And just trying to get the eyes a little bit and trying to get the shadow correct on the left side of the eye, because you do see the eye coming out of the shadow, but it's not as defined is the one on the right. So here's when I decided that the brown was not working. And I went back to the original blue color of the eyes. So I'm just using kind of a aquamarine blue with white acrylic gesso, maybe a touch of burnt sienna to gray it down just a little bit, but I'm just trying to get the blue look again. But I left some of the brown to show through just because it gives a better contrast and doesn't make things so bright. Here I'm doing a comparison, and I'm using all two of the photos and then zooming down my painting so that I have a comparison. And that's kind of just a look back. And what you would do if you're following along traditionally is take your original photo and put it next to your portrait and step back about 6 feet and look at it and see 6 feet or 8 feet and see what all you need to do. And it's getting close. You need to work on the eyes a little bit more. You need to darken the eye on the left side a little bit. You need to work on the eyebrows a tad. Work on the hair. So I was working on the hair, just doing it from this shrunk down perspective because I'm just sort of comparing it to my photographic reference there. And so I was working a little bit just with it shrunk down and just kind of trying to blend some things in and just get an idea of what all I need to do there. And so I'm working on the ears, trying to get the ear cut down a little bit, working on the hair, adding a little bit more color back to the face, a bit of a more peachy color, and working on the beard and the stubble. Just the small details, because we're in the detail stage now. And you have to just keep on working on details and nitpicking here and there and just trying to add a stroke here, add a stroke there, and each one hopefully gets you closer to the original reference that you have. And I'm working a little bit on the hair. I can tell that it comes out a little bit from behind the ear in the overexposed photo. I can see that detail. So I'm trying to add that a little bit with some lighter blue color, lighter than the background. So you can use either a purplish or a lighter blue or a lighter brown just to kind of bring out the hair from the background just a little bit. You don't want it overpowering. You just want kind of subtle hints and strands that his hair is there. And also, he's got to have an earring, a gold earring, because he's a pirate. And so I'm using a yellow color, and then I'll add a really light yellow to show the glint of the gold. And just an interesting fact, I read that the reason pirates had gold earrings was because that way if they died, someone could take that earring and pay for the burial of the body. That was supposed to be their money or whatever. If they didn't have anything else, that at least would pay for the burial of their body. And so that was supposed to be the reason that they wore gold earrings. Also, I guess they could use it if they didn't have any other money and they needed to buy food or something like that if things got really bad. So anyway, a pirate earring, that's why they wore gold earrings. And so I just thought that was kind of an interesting reason. And so anyway, I wanted to add that as the detail in here. And so this is the end of part 4, and we have one more part left where we'll add all the details and just refine and get the final highlights and everything. So if you want to see that, hit the subscribe button. Thanks everybody for watching. Thank you so much for your support. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comments down below, and I will catch you later.